Most cells in the body are composed of three basic parts: the plasma membrane, also called the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. The plasma membrane is the outer boundary of the cell. It is composed of a phospholipid bilayer, which we see here. These yellow balls on either side here are the phospholipid bilayer. So you have a layer of phospholipids here and a layer of phospholipids here. So if you remember from chapter 2, the we talked about the phospholipids in the lipid section, and these are an example of the phospholipids that we discussed in chapter 2. Also in the membrane, we have several other structures that are dispersed throughout the cell membrane. I'm going to do an entire video on the cell membrane. So right here we do see some proteins. We have integral proteins that go throughout the plasma membrane. We have peripheral proteins. We have cholesterol, which you can see here, this little green. It's not labeled here, but that's cholesterol. It's labeled over here. Um, we have glycolipids and glycoproteins. So the plasma membrane is a dynamic or a fluid structure that acts as a selectively permeable barrier. In parts of the body where rapid absorption is necessary, the plasma membrane will be modified to into these folded projections that are called microvilli. And those microvilli, the purpose of the microvilli is to increase its surface area. So, for example, in the small intestine where absorption is necessary, the cells that line the small intestine will have microvilli to increase the surface area over which absorption can occur. But like I said, I will discuss the plasma membrane in detail in a separate video. So over here on the right, you can see a histological section of simple squamous epithelial cells, and you can easily see this purple area that is the cell membrane. The cytoplasm is the material inside the cell. It consists of three parts: the cytosol, the cytoskeleton, and organelles. Cytosol is the fluid portion of the cytoplasm and contains mostly water, some solutes, enzymes, and other proteins. Another name for cytosol is the intracellular fluid. So in this diagram here, the cytosol would be represented by this white space. The cytoskeleton is a collection of protein filaments, including microtubules, which you can see here, microfilaments, and you can see some microfilaments here, and intermediate filaments, which you can see here. Together, all of these filaments support the cell, which is why it's called the cytoskeleton. It's sort of like the internal skeleton of the cell because it holds all the structures together. These filaments also serve as sort of like a highway system within the cell, so substances can move within the cell. So it's like a transport network within the cell. Microtubules also function in cell movement because they form the core of motile extensions from the cell that are called cilia and flagella. Cilia are small hair-like extensions that beat rhythmically together to propel substances past the cell, but cilia do not actually move the cell. Some cells have flagella, so like on this cell on the right-hand side, you can see these flagella that are coming off of the cell. And these are extensions that actually propel the cell itself. A flagellum is a single extension that we see on sperm cells. So like here we see one flagellum, and these actually sperm cells are the only cells within the male human body that contain a flagellum. So those are the only human cells that contain a flagellum. Organelles are specialized cellular compartments within the cell that carry out a variety of functions. For the remainder of the video, I'll discuss all of the organelles and just give their basic functions. So here we see a cell model. This is a cell model that we do have in lab. So when you're in lab, you can take a look at it. So the first organelle that we're going to talk about are the ribosomes. Ribosomes are small granular structures that are not surrounded by a membrane, and they're composed of two subunits. Some ribosomes float freely in the cytosol. So these red dots here, these are free ribosomes that are just floating in the cytosol. And if you look very closely, you can see that they are just individual little dots. Or when you're in lab and you can look closely at the cell model, you can see these individual dots here. But these are the free ribosomes, this red area here. Then we also have ribosomes that are bound to the membrane of another organelle or the nucleus. This organelle here that's represented by number 5 is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The reason why it's called rough is because of the little ribosomes that are represented by these little red dots here attached to the outer surface. Now you can't see the ribosomes on the outside of the nucleus here, but sometimes we do have ribosomes that are attached to the nuclear membrane. So the major function the function of ribosomes are to produce proteins. So protein synthesis is the function of ribosomes. Here we have another cell model that we have in lab, and I'm showing it because the next structure that I'm going to talk about are the peroxisomes and the lysosomes. Now, I've had questions about how to distinguish the two, and really on the cell model, it's going to be impossible to distinguish the two structures. So if we look closely, these little white balls here, these are probably the peroxisomes and lysosomes. Uh, so what peroxisomes and lysosomes are, both of them are small little vesicles, so they're vesicular organs. So vesicle is just a small little compartment that contain enzymes that detoxify chemicals produced by cellular reactions. Also, they detoxify or they metabolize fatty acids and synthesize certain phospholipids. Lysosomes are sacs that are filled with digestive enzymes that digest particles brought into the cell, old and worn out organelles, and even the cell itself. So both peroxisomes and lysosomes contain enzymes that sort of help clean up. And then another thing that we see are vesicles. So you can see this little red structure here. This is the Golgi body or Golgi apparatus. And you can see these little red things that are pinched off from it. Well, one of the things that the Golgi apparatus does is it packages substances that are made by the cell. So these little red little compartments that pinch off these little vesicles. They are called transport vesicles. So I sort of look at like the lysosomes and the peroxisomes. If you can think about like a bottle of Clorox that you clean up your kitchen with. So it contains these digestive enzymes or bleach or whatever in your kitchen to help clean up. And that's what the peroxisomes and the lysosomes do. They sort of help clean up. Whereas the vesicles, or sometimes you'll hear the term vacuole. A vacuole is a larger compartment within the cell that contains like water or other things that are stored. So you can sort of think of these little vesicles, these transport vesicles, or even the vacuoles as like a Ziploc bag. You're going to store food or something in a Ziploc bag. So that's how I tell the difference between like a lysosome, a peroxisome, and a vesicle. As far as being able to identify the two, Those would be something that would be difficult. This is easier because you can definitely see these red little structures have been pinched off from the Golgi apparatus. So I can distinguish the vesicle, the transport vesicle, from like the peroxisome and the lysosome. So these little structures down here, these little white balls and sort of light yellow ball, but I can't distinguish between the lysosome and the peroxisome. So that's not something I would ask you on a lab exam. I would not, I would maybe have peroxisome or lysosome, but I wouldn't have both of them on a question. So you would not have to distinguish between the two. But you do need to know as far as the functions are concerned. The peroxisomes and the lysosomes both often are grouped together. They contain digestive enzymes, whereas vesicles will transport materials throughout the cell. So now we have the mitochondrion. So I'm going back to this cell model and I'll go to the next cell model. The mitochondrion are, mitochondrion is singular, mitochondria is plural, but these sort of bean-like structures, these yellow structures here indicated by the number 8, those are the mitochondria. And then if we go to the next cell model, the mitochondria, and these are more bean-shaped than the ones that we saw previously. But this structure here, this structure down here, this structure up here, those are the mitochondria. Mitochondria are often called the powerhouse of the cell because they produce ATP. So they undergo metabolism to produce ATP, which is cellular energy. So if you take general biology, you'll learn all about that, but we're not going to go into detail. You just need to know that mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. They produce ATP, and you need to be able to identify them on a model. Okay, the next thing we have the endoplasmic reticulum, which I mentioned a little bit previously. I didn't show you on this model, and I'll go back to the other model. But here is this blue structure, and you can see the little white dots out there. Those are the ribosomes, the attached ribosomes. So this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough off, and you'll sometimes see RER, that stands for rough endoplasmic reticulum. And then the smooth, so this blue structure here, there are no white little dots on the outside, so that's the smooth endoplasmic. The rough endoplasmic reticulum functions in protein synthesis, which you should be able to remember because we talked about ribosomes being involved. The function of a ribosome is to synthesize proteins. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum, because those ribosomes are attached on the outside, the rough ER is it plays a part in protein synthesis, and then it also will modify proteins that the ribosomes have made. So as the proteins are made, they'll go into this membrane system of the rough ER, and they will be modified. The smooth ER has multiple functions. So remember, the smooth ER does not have ribosomes. That's why it's called smooth. Some of the functions of the smooth ER is lipid synthesis, and also the smooth ER is involved in detoxification reactions. So if we go to the previous slide, so number 5 is the rough ER, and then 6 you can see this membrane system. There are no attached ribosomes on the outside. That is the smooth ER, SER. Okay. The next structure is the Golgi apparatus. So the Golgi apparatus, number 9, represents the Golgi apparatus here. And on the next slide, the Golgi apparatus is this red pancake-like structure that is the the Golgi apparatus, also called the Golgi body. It is a stack of flattened sacs near the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Its membrane-enclosed sacs receive vesicles from the rough ER and other places in the cell, and it processes them and modifies them, and it will sort and the products within the vesicles that are received, and it's sort of like a packaging and receiving and packaging plant. So it will receive things, it will package them up for transport throughout the cell or out of the cell. So as products are made. You can see this this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So as vesicles are produced, you can see these little blue balls. They will enter into the Golgi apparatus and then move throughout that pancake series, those series of flattened sacs, and then come out the other end and then be transported across the cell or out of the cell. Okay. The next structure are the centrioles. So you can see the centrioles here, and they are always in pairs. So these are the centrioles on this slide. And then here we have number 12. These are the centrioles, always in pairs. Centrioles are paired organelles composed primarily of microtubules that are located in the central area of the cell called the centrosome. So they're going to be close to the nucleus, and centrioles are involved in cellular duplication, so mitosis and meiosis, which I have separate videos for that. But centrioles are involved in reproduction of the cell. So in cells that do not divide, for example, in some nervous tissue cells that do not divide, we would not expect to see centrioles because centrioles are involved in mitosis and meiosis. So some nerve cells do not divide, so they would not have centrioles. Okay, and then we come to the nucleus. So here, this large blue structure in the middle of the cell is the nucleus. Number 1 is pointing to the nuclear membrane. 3 is pointing to like the chromatin within the cell. 4 is the nucleolus, and 2 is pointing to a nuclear pore. And then if we go to the next slide, we have the nucleus here. You can see the little dimples on the outside. That is the nuclear pores. That dark purple area is the nuclear membrane. And then we can see the nucleolus right here, this dark structure in the middle of the nucleus. And then if you look very closely, you can see these little white areas. That represents the chromatin. So the nucleus is, and this is a large component, nearly all cells have a nucleus. Some cells lack a nucleus. So what, like for example, red blood cells, as they mature, they lose their nucleus. And so we say that they are anucleate because they do not have a nucleus. But most cells do have a nucleus. And the nucleus is the cell's biosynthetic center. So it's going to direct the synthesis of all of the body's proteins, as well as certain nucleic acids. And the nucleus is surrounded by that nuclear membrane. It's a double membrane, or it's also called the nuclear envelope. And you have those nuclear pores. And the significance of the nuclear pores is that's where messenger RNA, mRNA, will travel from the nucleus out of the cell, and it will direct protein synthesis. So messenger RNA has to travel out of those nuclear pores. And within the nucleus, we find the chromatin, so that little white areas in this cell model. And then if we go to this, the pinkish looking stuff, all that thready looking stuff, that's the chromatin. And that's where where the DNA is going to be. Okay. Also proteins and RNA. And then we have the nucleolus. So number 4 is the nucleolus in this cell model. And then in this, we have this dark purple area that is the nucleolus. The nucleolus contains a type of RNA called ribosomal RNA. And that's where the ribosomal RNA is what's going to give rise to the ribosomes that are responsible for protein synthesis. So those are the parts of the cell, and I have gone a little bit longer on this video, so I'm going to stop here.